Hi there, Natalie with you today with a new process video for Pinkfresh Studio. And if you are, today is Mother's Day, and if you're celebrating it, happy Mother's Day to you all. So today we're going to create a layout using the Simple Things collection, and I'm also going to use the Never Give Up Press Play suite. So I'm starting with this paper that's called Here Comes the Sun. I love the stripe on this paper. It goes diagonally across the page. So I want to use those stripes to create my background. I had this idea. For some reason, I woke up with the idea, so I'm going to make it come to life. So first thing, I'm going to split up my Here Comes the Sun paper into two big triangles along that blue line that goes from the top to the bottom of the page diagonally. So you're gonna see that it does not fit in my paper trimmer, so I had to use my X-Acto knife, which is gonna get quite a workout today, my crafty knife, because I want to cut along the diagonal stripes. So you're gonna see, first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna separate my paper into two big triangles, and I'm gonna use the triangle that has the blue stripe. I'm gonna keep the other one for a project later on. So my idea is I wanna weave an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock in between the paper strips. So to do that, first thing I have to do is kind of create a limit of how far I have to cut the strips in the background so that my paper looks like it's part of the background. So for that, I'm gonna use the grid that is on my mat. I'm gonna put my triangle, and then I'm gonna set the 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock right on the center, and then I'm gonna use my ruler and a pencil to draw the pencil line around the bottom edge of the paper. Once I have that, I'm gonna bring again my crafty knife, and my ruler actually has the one side is metal, so I'm gonna use the metal side to actually empty all the white spaces in between those pencil lines in the paper strips. So you're gonna see that I'm just starting with my ruler and my crafty knife. I'm just taking all the little white pieces, so I'm gonna go along the pencil line and just cutting out the little pieces, and then I'm going to start emptying the literally I'm going to empty the white strips. So it's going to take me some time because I want to be clean. I think the idea to do this, you have to be clean with your cut, so it's going to take you a little bit of time. So it took me, like seriously, it took me a little bit of time to just clean it up. I wanted, like I said, the clean lines. So I'm going to show you a little bit, and then I'm going to take it off camera because actually I had to speed up the process quite a bit. You're going to see that there's a lot of speed up on the process video. It just took a while to build this background. So I'm going to take out, like I said, all the white pieces. Once I have that, I'm going to take my eraser and just erase that pencil line that I created kind of as a guide of how far I was going to cut my white stripes. Once I have that, then I'm going to start working on how to create the background and how to complete the look of the background. So remember, I took half of the paper away from here. So I need to make up that other triangle with another paper, and I also need to weave my white cardstock in between the stripes. So I like outside of the camera, I tried a few formations with the strips or the stripes, and then I realized that I wanted to have a representation of the colors in the collection. That meant that I was going to weave my paper in such a way that it showed only those stripes. So once the idea formed completely, then I needed to make up the other half of the paper. So I'm using this paper. It's called Beautiful Day. The B side has like this peachy coral tone, and I really like that. I think it's a nice complement to the stripes and the white cardstock. So I am going to trim a frame that has an 8 by 10 in the center. So I'm going to gut out the center of the paper so that I can use the frame to complete my triangle. Remember, the center is going to be covered by the white cardstock, so it's okay if I take that paper away. So one thing that I do is I'm using my paper trimmer, and I'm making sure that I don't go all the way to the corners so that the paper stays in place when I glue the other part in place. So I like what this looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and secure my stripe paper onto the peach frame that I created. So I'm gonna add glue just to the back. Think of it as the straight angle of the stripe paper, and I'm gluing it right onto the peach frame. Once I have that, I'm gonna weave in the white cardstock, and like I said before, I went to weave my paper in a way that I had the center stripe, represented the colors in the collection. And then at the top, I was thinking about leaving that orange line. I didn't like it. It cut the paper in a weird way. So I went and just kind of pull it out of the orange stripe and tuck it back in into the pink stripe. So it gives you the idea that the paper is starting to kind of weave in like big sections on the background. Once I have that, I secured it, but just to make sure that it doesn't move, I'm going to go ahead and reinforce it with a little bit of washi tape on the background. Once I have that, now it's about deciding where am I going to see the pictures. So I play with a few rotations of the paper, but I liked it, when the paper had the stripe going diagonally from the bottom left corner to the top right corner of my layout. And I thought, I'm going to set my pictures right on the center, and I'm going to create my embellishments in the opposite direction so that it kind of creates a cross between the embellishments and the stripes. And I'm going to sit my flowers, and I'm going to sit my pictures right at the intersection of the two lines. So to create the embellishments, I am using the Never Give Up press plate, and I love stamping with it. Okay, so what I do is I'm using detail black ink. I have my little Better Press set here. I am using detail black ink, and I'm actually I'm not using cotton paper. I am using Hammermill 100-pound cover cardstock to create the impression. And instead of creating like that, that nice, if you use the press plate on your cotton paper or watercolor paper, you get that nice like impression on it. When you do it on just like heavy cardstock like I'm doing, you create like a really crisp stamping impression. So I've been doing this lately, especially with a press plate, because it just gives you like that easy, super clean impression of a stamp. So once I have it, I'm gonna color it. And I'm going to try to pick up the colors that come in this collection. So I went with eucalyptus for the green. I created 3 images. I'm just going to show you one. I'm using eucalyptus for the greens here, but I use fresh pear, and I think is the next color after that for the other 2 leaves. And then I'm going to use tones of ink for the flowers that are gonna match that kind of peachy coral paper in the background. So I'm using peach fuzz, coral reef, cherry blossom, and peony, a combination of all those colors to create my flowers. I am using the stencil that comes with this set that coordinates with the Never Give Up press plate, and I'm just following the steps in the stencils. I am using my 1/2 inch blending brush to add the color. So all I do is just kind of like pick up some color with the bristles of my brush and then go in a circular motion on top of the stencil. That's gonna deposit ink, and then just gonna add the detail on my stamp, it's my stamped image. For the center of the flowers, I'm actually using citron, and then all I'm gonna do is just use the die that coordinates with this set to just separate them. So you're gonna see my colors. I have 3, like I said, and they have all the same tones. So now I have everything ready, so it's time to assemble. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a journaling bit. This is like an envelope that comes in that set to serve as the anchor for my pictures. And like I said before, because my lines are going diagonally from the bottom left corner to the top right corner of my layout, I want my flowers to go, kind of think of it as creating an X. So they're going to go from the top left corner to the bottom right corner, not necessarily completely diagonally, but enough that they cross the diagonal lines, and my pictures are gonna sit right in the intersection of the flowers and the stripes. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set my flowers in place, and you're gonna see that I am of the school that you have to make your flowers work for you, you die cuts. So that means that I am not afraid of cutting pieces, trimming some of the wide edges, just to make sure that my pictures kind of sit in between the flowers. So you're gonna see I'm just playing with the position, and you're gonna see that I'm gonna play them. They create kind of a soft wave going from the left to the right. I'm happy what they look like. I actually cut some pieces of the flowers that were going to be hidden underneath the pictures, and I'm just going to help me build up the cluster a little bit more with them. Once I have that, you're gonna see that I am actually going to start gluing the flowers. So I'm going a little bit backwards of how we usually build a layout. Usually we put the picture and then the embellishments. I'm gonna go the opposite way. So I'm gonna set up my embellishments in place, my flowers in this case. I am adding a little bit of foam adhesive to the edges of the flower just to kind of create that that dimension. Once I get to the center, I'm going to actually use a little bit of liquid glue to glue the centers onto the background. Then I'm gonna bring in my journaling bit. You're gonna see that I'm making sure that it sits right on the center because I want my pictures to be right on the center. And then I'm gonna set them in place. I added a little bit of cardstock behind my picture just to give them a little bit of a lift. And once I have them ready, I'm gonna say that my layout came together super fast after this. I knew that I wanted to bring something that will soften a little bit more the kind of that line that I'm creating, that wavy line. So I went through like all the pieces, and I really like this kind of a scallop border that comes in one of the frames, in the chipboard frames. So I cut one of them into halves, and I know that I want to put them right around my picture. Think about creating like a little triangle, but when I cut a frame, I only have two. So thankfully, I also have the Spanish version of this collection, so I went and cut the other piece out of it. And the way that I'm gonna set up my frames is like the one on the right is gonna sit right behind the journaling bit, but the ones on the left, I'm gonna weave them through the paper strips, so that it just, sells the idea of the paper weaving a little bit more. Once I have that, I found this little heart that says I love us, which is from the layer stickers from the collection. And then I really like that little sentiment that comes there, so I wanted to bring something that kind of have the same idea. So I went into the chipboard frames again, and I started auditioning a few of the pieces, and then I decided to go with the one at the top. That orange one is from the chipboard frame. The one at the bottom is from the Puffy stickers. And I actually moved on to the Spanish collection because this layout is going to go to my cousin's album. So they only speak Spanish, so I went with the Spanish one. Once I have that, I'm not gonna add anything else. I added a little bit of a few hearts just to follow the same idea of the heart that I put to the right of the pictures. And then for my title, I went into the Puffy stickers, and I put the sentence that says "Me encanta," which means I love it, in Spanish. So I'm gonna set it right at the bottom corner of the white cardstock, and then just to kind of to join the title onto that swag of flowers, I'm actually going to use a butterfly, and that comes from the Ephemera pack. Once I have that, I am going to actually bring enamel dots. And the way that I'm going to set my enamel dots is in some of the straps, I'm going to make sure that I put one right underneath the strip, and then one on top, so that you see that they're not attached to the layout and that there's some movement. I didn't put anything on the orange because it's quite a bit of space that it's going to be hidden, but I put it right next to the pink one, and I put it right next to that kind of tealish blue paper. I put one in that dark blue and some on the yellow, and then I'm going to add a few more enamel dots to the corners of the flowers. And then I added those little puffy, it looks like little sparkles right next to the title, just to finish this layer. There's plenty of space for my cousin to write anything if she wants to, or she can actually add it and put it inside the envelope. I didn't close it. I make sure that it was easy to access in and out of it. And that's about it. I love how this turned out. Like I said, I woke up with an idea and I thought, let's see if it works, and I love how this turned out. There's a nice combination of like something very graphic, like the background, to that that nice softness of the florals, and like I said, kind of my ode to Mother's Day. That's my aunt, and that's my goddaughter, which happens to be her granddaughter. So I hope you try it. As always, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to contact me. Leave me a comment and I'll be able to come back and check it out. Thank you so much for joining me. If you are celebrating Mother's Day today, happy Mother's Day. And as always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There's always beautiful content being added here. And like I said, just leave me a comment if you want to find out anything. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you so much for joining me. And bye, guys.